Good evening. Welcome to the Grand. My name is Joe Ferlo. I am the director of the Grand Oshkosh. This is another of our sessions of question and answer time. A lot has happened in the last couple of weeks, or even just the last week. And I think that some of the more obvious questions, now that people are starting to get out into the community again, we'll try to answer for you here. There are several that have been submitted in advance. I'm glad to have those. And I will also answer any questions you want to give me along the way. Please feel free to leave something in the comments, and if I see it, I can flash it up on the screen in front of me, and I will make that work for you. So the obvious question, of course, is what's it look like for opening the Grand? What's going on at the Grand right now? Well, like so many other places, we have a timetable for reopening and for reopening safely, and in a way that makes the audience feel comfortable coming back. That time's not yet, and indeed, I don't think there are any large assemblies rushing to happen just yet. That said, we are hard at work, working on getting the theater ready, on what the things might look like. We announced a new season just about a week or so ago, and I'm going to play you in snippets as we go on tonight. In case you missed that, I'll play you some of the previews of what's coming in the year ahead. It's going to be an exciting year. It's going to be a lot of fun, but normal is different now. The old habit of saying new normal really applies now, and what's happening right now is the staff continues to work from their homes, both coming up with inventive ideas for what we might be able to do, and how we can do it most effectively. Also, we're in the midst of a fund drive, and that's very important. I want to, of course, encourage you, after you've taken care of all the crazy things that are going on in your life, and making sure that you're provided for family-wise. We hope that you'll consider making a donation to the Grand to help us. We are going to have to survive a summer of no shows, and you certainly can help us to do that. And if you're wondering how to do that, all you have to do is head for the website, thegrandoshkosh.org. It'll look like this, and the first things you'll see are updates about the Grand, including subscribing to the Grand at Home, which is the channel we put this on. All of show updates and things like that, there is a special link for, and of course, a place to click to become a supporter of the Grand. And we hope that you'll find your way to that and be able to help us out too as we go through the year. With that said, I think we'll get into the questions of how things are going to look in just a moment. First, though, I want to give you a little bit of a preview of the new season. As I mentioned, we're going to start in the fall, where the Grand will remain closed throughout the summer. We won't open till after Labor Day. And as we get things taken care of here, tickets will be on sale earlier than that. Probably around the 4th of July weekend. We need to take some time and figure out what a socially distanced seating chart might look like here in the Grand. We will certainly be employing one at the start of the season, and we'll have to move forward from there. But we're looking forward. September 12th will be a fun night. We have a fabulous group called the B Twins, a duo from originally from South America, now living in the U.S., who are just lively, audience interactive, which will be an interesting concept in a socially distant audience interactive performance. But if anybody can do it, these guys will do it. We're going to take a short break here. I'll be back to answer your questions. Feel free to pop them on. But here's the first few shows of the new season.
Hello, we love Johnny Cash. I hear the train a-comin', it's rolling around the bend. And I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train keeps a-rollin' on down to San Antonio. Fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. On this heart of mine, I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Because you're mine, I walk the line.
So that's the beginning of the season. And it leads right into one of the main questions, of course. What will seating look like? Well, that is literally a $50,000 question now, isn't it? We know that there's going to be a need to create a socially distanced audience experience. And we've been studying a lot of other athletic and assembly and arts venues and what they're doing along the way. And I guess the best way to try to describe it is if you were to look at the seats behind me and imagine that in a row there'd be maybe 2 seats and then some empty seats and then some more seats filled and empty, staggered in groups of perhaps 2s or 3s, maybe 4s. And depending on how that works, and then staggered in the window panes, the areas in between, in the next row would be groups of seats as well. And in that fashion, we'll be able to keep that 6-foot distance between these groups. Now, obviously, the groups need to be units that would sit together normally along the way, and we're still figuring out how, if you're a party of 4, if you're a party of 2, if you're a single person, how that's all going to shake together, because we'll do our level best to make sure that distance stuff is going to happen, and we're going to count on people to be cooperative about it. We are definitely going to be one of those places, like restaurants who are putting their tables apart or even just taking certain tables and putting them out of service. That's the way it's going to be here, and it's not something we take lightly. Obviously, we'll end up reducing the capacity to the Grand, probably. I think as a way to it's going to be about 220 seats, I think, when it's all said and done, and it's not an easy decision. Obviously, that's lost revenue for us, especially a bunch of those seats being the most expensive seats in the house. Not being able to sell all 100 suite seats is a difficult decision to make, but it's the right one to make, and we'll find our way around it. With that said, we also have the issues of all of the other congregation places in the theater. Regular attendees here at the Grand know that the lobbies are crowded, and the Grand Lounge is crowded. Now, granted, if there's 220 people instead of 550, that opens things up a little bit along the way. But you can imagine that we're spending an awful lot of time trying to figure out how to safely bring people into the lounge to buy a beverage, and trying to figure out what that beverage might look like. There's going to be changes in how what the product that we can serve for people, single serve cocktails and wines and beers are probably going to be the way we end up going, just for the sake of making that work. And as far as the shows themselves, who knows what, we may stagger times for people to come in. That's one of the things people talk about. We may do the shows without intermission to maximize the amount of time we're in the seats without trafficking around the building in between. I think meet and greets are going to change drastically. I think the days of artists hanging out in the lobby in close quarters with a congregated audience probably are out of the picture for us through the fall, at the very least. And the whole thing gets turned over. We're looking at the most modern, up-to-date versions of how to clean this facility in between. Many of you have probably heard of the foggers, the units that are being used in larger auditoriums and things of that nature. There's a good shot that's going to be something we're going to employ here. I can tell you, I ran into our custodian this morning, and she was on her, she's been on her hands and knees between things happening at making sure that things are clean, making sure that everything gets a once over. Deep cleaning in the restrooms and the public areas, the Grand Lounge. That's all part of what we'll spend the next. We'll spend our summer vacation cleaning and maintaining and making sure the Grand is ready. This is the kind of thing that actually goes even deeper. It goes into the artist's care. Will we be trying to separate the stage crew and the artists on stage? Will we? What will happen down in the dressing room areas to make sure people can keep their distances along the way, and how we're going to work from there. And it's going to be a fascinating thing. I got a question, and I wish I could answer this one for you, Mike, but there is no Bon Iver show here at the Grand. It might be at one of the other Grands here in the state, but I do appreciate you tuning in. And sorry, I can't answer that question for you, but it's a great question because it leads me into some other shows and updates. We did have some shows even scheduled in this month. There, most notably, a Gaelic Storm performance, which had been rescheduled, and a performance of Steam, which had been rescheduled. And they're each going to be, I think, rescheduled again into a different area, a different spot, stay tuned. If you've got a ticket already for one of those shows, hang on to it. We will just as soon as it lands in a new spot, we will figure that out, and we'll move from there. One of the things we're starting to pursue, and I can't speak to those two shows because they're rentals of the theater, but I know for the shows that I'm booking, the Cash Tribute you just saw, and is a great example, is that because we can no longer put 400 or 500 people into the theater, many artists throughout the country right now are saying, look, I'm going to come to town. We'll do 2 performances in a day. We'll try to get you those numbers at the same, one way or the other. So some of these shows that have sold many tickets you may find yourself dividing. You're part of a divided audience going into some different areas, and that's just going to be part of the game as we try to figure out our way through it. The staff has done an absolutely fabulous job of trying to stay in communication with people, and that's what we'll roll with that. In the meantime, you can count on the Grand Online, the Grand at Home online versions of things, and tomorrow night, Friday nights now are something we're calling Cocktail Hour. It's an opportunity for me to go one-on-one with artists, or as in the case of last week, it was 1-on-2. We had Natalie Cordone and Sean Kilgore on last week, and we talked about their upcoming show a year from June, a year from next month. So that spurred some people who asked the question, who's going to be coming to join us for cocktail hours in the future here. So we're going to do, they're going to be on Friday nights. And I can tell you that this coming Friday, tomorrow, I'm going to sit down with Mallory Lewis and Lamb Chop. Of course, Mallory is the daughter of Sherry Lewis, which I suppose makes her Lamb Chop's sister. They're going to be joining us from sunny California. We'll spend an hour together at 7:30 tomorrow night, talking about the career, talking about Mallory's show, which will come to the Grand in early 2021, and we'll have a visit then with Mallory Lewis. The week after, we're going to spend some time not with an artist that's coming, but with an artist that's been. It has been a year now since Close to You sold out the Grand with a great tribute to the Carpenters. Lisa Rock, the mastermind and lead singer of that group and that wonderful tribute. Lisa will be joining us for cocktail hour at the following Friday, and actually we'll have a full length version of Close to You as one of the Saturday night Grand at Home concerts. So we're looking forward to that. And the week following, I'm looking forward to meeting online James Garner. You've seen his videos, in his previews. The guy has an incredible tribute to the great Johnny Cash. He has the gift of having the voice, and he uses it well. It's a wonderful tribute, and I'm going to look forward to sitting down with James as well. So we've got Friday and Saturday events, and we're going to keep working on that all summer. This coming Saturday, we've got Backstage Pass, and that is going to be live on Saturday night, 7:30 p.m., and we hope you'll join us for that as well. And we're going to try to stay in front of you and continue to give you content. I'm continually talking with artists now that we have settled into this sort of routine, if you want to call it that. We know now that there are artists who are out there providing content. We did a great pay-per-view cooperative event last night with the magician Bill Blagg, and Bill did an absolutely phenomenal show on pay-per-view. And who knows? Live streaming may become part of our offerings going into the fall too. We've got there's no idea that's too crazy, and probably the best place for you to stay on top of things is at the website, thegrandoshkosh.org. That gives you the ideas of what's going on with show cancellations and transfers and things like that along the way. And of course, you can also subscribe for the Grand at Home channel, and that'll keep you posted. We know that we're going to have 2 nights of content throughout, and possibly even more. We did our first. Thank you, Josh. We love that, and I hope you're safe in New York City. We did some student recitals. We did a student recital on Wednesday last week, and it was a great kickoff for a Wednesday night show. There were 10 students who did their work for their spring recitals and recorded them at home and sent them in, and we put them into a show. They're about an hour long, and it turned out to be a great show. Now, the question that was asked was, will we be able to? Will we have any more of those? And the answer is, well, it depends on the students. Certainly, if I can collect another group of student videos, whether they're from this particular first one, we're all Oshkosh High School students, but certainly I would open that up to the Valley. And if there's someone who had an opportunity, worked on a piece, and never got the opportunity to do it at solo and ensemble or at state this year, and is willing to get out there in front of people, I'll put together another student recital in a heartbeat. That was a lot of fun. We're looking for some family content along the way too, and we'll find our way through that as well. I'm going to take another quick break, take a little drink of water myself, and show you a little bit more of what's coming in next year. We got through the Spirits of the Grand Tours in October so far, and those are, from those first few shows are probably, I would say with virtual certainty, a social distanced audience. We'll see what happens in December and moving forward, because we got some big things happening and coming your way. Here they are.
The opera is here inside your mind. Hey, old friend, are you okay? Old friend,
what do you say, old friend? Are we unique?
time goes by, everything else keeps changing. You and I, we get continued next week.
Speak softly, love, and hold me warm against your heart. I feel your words, the tender trembling moments are near and word, our very own, sharing a love that only few have ever known.
My broken soul won't be alive or whole till I hear you sing once more. No, not me. All I care about is doing the guy in who grow is I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. Sing, my angel of music.
He's there, the phantom of the opera.
Sing!
Help me make the music of the
One look at that Oshkosh on Broadway cast, and you get an idea of some of the other things that keep me awake at night. Like, how do you do that, socially distancing the cast members? But that's January. We're talking now. Marie has a great question, and I have an answer that I don't think you're going to like. I think Marie's question, of course, is will we be doing the Dark Knights series this summer, the trivia and karaoke up in the Grand Lounge. We debated that a lot going through this and not knowing what's going to happen in the next several weeks once the states open and busy again. I made the decision not too long ago that we would skip the Dark Knights, which is really hard to do because it took us years to build the audience, and these last couple of years especially have just been tremendous trivia and karaoke nights. But if you held me up to the wall and asked me the question right now, Marie, I'd say it's not likely. It is. Continue to tune in case something remarkable happens along the way, but I don't think we'll be seeing Dark Knights. I think that is a COVID casualty for 2020. Thanks for asking. Another great question that was asked, speaking of the season, is, what's going to happen with the brochure? Usually about this time of year, theaters often send out wonderful printed brochures, and the Grand's no different. We have a wonderful one that Castle Pierce has sponsored for us for many, many years. Again, a difficult decision, but knowing that anything could change going into the fall, one of the things that I want to avoid is sending out a printed document, a calendar. In fact, our brochure is in calendar format usually, and then have things change. We have to be. We don't know what the shift will be, and remember, it's not just the venue. There could be artists who are on tour who have decided to suspend their tour or change their tour or work with some different things. It's going to be a very, very interesting year with the ground shifting underneath us. So we made the decision here that we will not do a printed brochure this year. We're going to do a really nice interactive online brochure where you'll be able to go page through. You can download it probably if you wish, but that will give us the ability to update it as the year goes on. Should a show move? Should a show be added? With any luck, I plan on adding some shows certainly in the second half of the year as things get moving from there. There'll be an opportunity perhaps to either download and print your own version of that brochure, or we'll have some kind of thing that if someone were to request just a listing of the shows and how to make it happen, I'm sure we'll have something to request. But as far as having the big mailer that shows up in your mailbox, that won't be happening this year. It'll be something we'll have to try to make our way go through again. And again, this question again was a great one. When will tickets go on sale? It's very unusual to announce your season as we did and not have tickets on sale immediately. At least it's unusual for us. But after thinking about it, I had two things I needed to take into consideration. The first was I wanted to get out there with the season. I think people needed the news that we were thinking about it. We were going to find a way to make it happen, and the Grand was going to be a part of getting back to normal in the fall by having a season of shows. So getting the word out was very important. And at the same time, putting out a seating chart is just not something you can rush into doing. I kind of described to you where I think things are going to land with a seating chart, but I can tell you we have about 4 models right now that we're looking at to try to find the safest and the easiest way to provide the comfort of being distanced from others in the audience and still have a great experience while you're here at the Grand. So with that in mind, it's going to be the 4th of July weekend, probably at the very earliest. I would tell you this. I would encourage people to consider becoming a donor, a member of the Grand right now during our spring campaign. And obviously that's it's important because it's going to keep us alive and well going into the fall. But equally important, the single biggest membership of benefit of being a donor at the Grand is that you have an opportunity to purchase your tickets in advance to the general public. That will still be the case. The folks who are, unless you already, there are a couple shows where you already have your tickets. Don't worry about that. Your tickets are secure. But for the shows that have been added in for next year, if you stop and do the math, we have about 50% of the normal number of tickets we have available for any given show. They're going to go pretty quickly. So the advantage of being able to order 4 Phantoms tickets in advance of the general public is probably worth, I hope, the ability of becoming a member. And as important as that is, I can't lie to you. We are struggling just like everyone else right now. I'm thrilled that we've been able to hang on to our core staff, and they've been able to help me figure out how we're going to get through this. But we're coming to what is normally a quiet time of the year for us, and you put that on top of everything else. I'm going to create a budget that assumes fewer people and fewer food and beverage sales, and that's going to hurt. the donations from individuals, from corporations, corporate sponsorship is going to be enormously important. And as you've gone through, you've seen that some of the shows are already sponsored. We thank those folks, but there's opportunities out there as well. We're going to need your help. We need you to be there for us so that we can be there for you. So if there's anything we can do to help you help us, I hope you'll get a hold of us. It is true that we're all working from home, and I'm no different. I get to come visit the Grand every once in a while, but it's going to be a while before we're back in the office again. So in the meantime, thank goodness for email. It works. It's been working great. You can find us on the website that way. Send your questions and have that opportunity. And if you have the ability to help us with a donation or a sponsorship of a show, that's going to be very important. The other thing that kind of is the wild card right now, that's got to be less of a wild card going forward, is we're talking about enhanced cleaning, right? We're one of those with the fogger. We're talking about likely masks on the staff and the volunteers. We're talking about single serve beverages in order to make it safer and minimize contact. We're talking about extra cleanings. We're talking about sanitation, sanitizing, hand sanitizing stations. There's a lot of new expense that's going to find its way in the budget at the same time that we're going to find ourselves lighter on revenue. So you'll hear me, I'm going to get a little more probably emphatic in getting the word out on needing the help of the community, but we're going to do our part too. We've put together a season. We put together an educational season. We're working with arts partners. We're working with renters and promoters, and just as soon as we can do it right and do it comfortably for everyone concerned on both sides of the curtain, we'll be back there for you. That's my promise to you. That's our half of the bargain. So you look forward to that. With that in mind, I'd like to go to the next segment of the season. We've gotten up to the end of January now with the fabulous Oshkosh on Broadway show. And here's how we get through a few months in early 2021.
Yeah, no, it's funny because she is eternally 6, but our relationship is different than Mom's and her relationship, because Mom was,
Shelly was my mom, and Ellery is my sister, and I'm not so impressed with my sister.
Right.
That's true. And here's a beautiful video of your mom.
I love that video.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Sherry was your mom, Land Chop, and Mallory's your sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all know sibling relationships are very different.
Yes.
Very.
A little bit head to head.
Little bit. And I go and I get to sing and I get to perform, and then people clap, and then they hug me, and then they say, "Oh, your mommy would be so proud of you," and then they hand me a check. I mean, it's like
you have like the ideal life.
I have the perfect job,
And it is all because of me, because nobody really wants her. They just want me.
Thank you for that.
Yes, they do.
Everybody asks what was it like to be Sherry's daughter? She was a regular mom. I mean, I still said things as a teenager like, "I hate you, you're ruining my life," as every teenage girl has to say.
Right.
But we got along pretty well. I traveled with her a great deal. Our joke is Lamb has been feeding our family for years.
Wait a minute.
This is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it is.
Hey, what's up, Oshkosh? It's Nicole Witt from Farewell Angelina, and just wanted to shout out, we are coming April the 10th of 21, and we had to cancel that March 20th show, and we are dying to get back and can't wait. So in the meantime, y'all check out our music, farewellangelinamusic.com. Come follow us on Insta and Facebook, and we'll see you guys soon. Everybody stay healthy and safe. Much love.
Hey guys, I'm Lisa. I'm Ashley. Nicole. Andrea.
Farewell, Angelina.
Don't even hurt, so what kind of baby is that?
course, Farewell Angelina and James Garner's Tribute to Johnny Cash are two shows that were in last season's lineup that have found their way migrated into the new year. There is a third for those who are following along. That was the a cappella vocal group Vivace. And they're coming too, but it probably won't happen until 2021, 2022. It's going to be a great decade for me with these numbers, saying those things out loud and trying not to stumble over it. But Vivace will be there. We'll be back as well. I didn't want to cancel on any of the artists that we had in the season. I wanted to make sure that they all had the opportunity to be part of what's going on here at the Grand. But that said, we had to spread things out along the way. What's happening with the school shows, of course, is another deal for us. We did announce a student discovery series. Thankfully, we've got the continued support of AMCOR for that as well. And that starts in the late fall. Of course, those are daytime matinees for which busloads of kids arrive at the theater. Any parent right now who's been watching and seeing what teacher, I shouldn't just say parent or teacher, what might be happening in the schools in terms of social distancing, in terms of whatever along the way, certainly doesn't need me to tell you that we're going to be evaluating and watching and seeing how that happens. Again, if we can provide a socially distanced opportunity for students to see a show here at the Grand, we certainly are going to do it. As long as there's an audience, we'll figure out a way to serve them. But that also will reduce the capacity for a program that is usually selling very well at 500 seats a show. So teachers, I would encourage you to follow along. That's been posted and announced, and as the year comes in, if you can see what happens along the way, we don't know if kids are going to get on the buses and do field trips. It's hard to say, but that doesn't mean we don't want to provide a destination. And that's an important thing for the arts right now is what our role is. Whether it's working with the Convention and Visitors Bureau on destination stuff or not. There's an opportunity to be a part of what's got to happen, and we're responsible for making that happen, and we're going to do our bit. This is a great question. Thank you, Timothy. What about community theater productions? I can tell you that I know of the Oshkosh community players have announced that they will not do the fall or winter slots in their season. They have one show that they're going to do in the spring of 2021. There's another company talking about doing a show in November if the socially distanced opportunities still happen along the way. But I am so thrilled, not just with community players, but also our arts partner, the Oshkosh Symphony Orchestra, that they are each planning to do something in the course of the year. There are an awful lot of places that have chosen to take the year off. Instead, they're altering their schedules and making it work that way, and I'm certainly glad to see that. I'll be glad to have the arts partners back in the building as well. The other big piece, we've talked about touring artists, and in my series, we've talked about artists that are brought in by outside promoters, and there's a good smattering of those already too. Some moved from last year, and others added for the year. Those will get announced over the summer months. We won't be dormant, even though we'll be closed. There'll be shows being announced and deals going on, and I'll be back here frequently. In addition to the Friday cocktail hour and the Saturday shows, Thursday probably will be the place I land for questions and answers and updates. Wednesdays where I want to put the student content if we can, and we'll move on from there. And that'll keep an opportunity for you to keep an eye on what's going on here at the Grand, and at least take one look, once a week at this pretty old building that's just sitting here waiting for an audience to come back and be part of it. I'm going to take a moment here and give you the last segment of the season as we are heading our way up to the top of the hour. We got to Farewell Angelina and Springtime, and this is how we'll close out the rest of the year, 2021.
Hi, Alvin Hong here. Like the rest of you, I'm stuck at home because of this quarantine, and so I can't be with you to celebrate fanfare and all the wonderful video games and comics and superheroes that we love. But I'm happy to announce that it's still going to happen next year when this is all over.
Hey, everybody, I'm Natalie Cordone.
Hi, everybody, and I'm Sean Kilgore.
And together we are Cordone.
And Kilgore. That took a while
We
to
are
come up with. Right?
super creative. We're thrilled that we are going to get a chance to see you guys June 11th and 12th of 2021 for our show. This could be the start of something big, the music of Steve and Evie.
We hope everyone is staying safe and well, and we look forward to being able to sing live and in person for you coming up next year.
Yeah, so I guess it's time to get down to it, huh, Sean?
Let's watch it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
You're walking along the street, or you're at a party, or else you're alone and then you suddenly dig. You're looking in someone's eyes, you suddenly realize that this could be the start of something big.
You're lunching at 21, watching your diet, declining a Charlotte bruise, accepting a fig. When out of the clear blue sky, it's suddenly gal and guy, and this could be the start of something big. There's no controlling the unrolling of your fate, my friend. Who knows what's written in the magic book?
But when a lover you discover at the gate, my friend, invite her in without a second look.
You're watching the sun come up and counting your money, or else in a dim cafe you're ordering wine. Then suddenly there he is, and you want to be where he is. And this must be the start of something. This could be the heart of something. This could be the start of something.
Hi, we're the Four Phantoms.
I'm Brent Barrett.
I'm John Cudia.
I'm Frank D'Ambrosio.
I'm Kieran Sheehan.
And I'm Kaylee Voorhees.
From the entire Four Phantoms team, we wish the best to you and your families, and we hope you're all staying safe.
And this December, we're returning to the Grand Oshkosh with a very special holiday show.
This show is sure to get you in the holiday spirit.
Yeah, but don't worry. You're also going to be hearing all of your Phantom favorites, too.
And we hope to see all of you there on December 17th, 18th, and 19th at the Grand Oshkosh.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll tell you, one of the great joys of what I do was making the connection with that quality group of individuals and their organization to help elevate the star power of any given season. And bringing them back for a third time was an interesting choice to make. There were plenty of people who would come back probably for the exact same show, but I wanted to see what we could do to make it feel a little different for the people who were seeing it maybe for this third time or more. People did come back to shows. So as I sat down with the producer and when we started to talk about things, and this happened actually while they were here at their last visit, we discussed the idea of a Christmas show, a holiday show, and whether we could take a segment of the show and insert some holiday cheer. And of course, we knew we had to keep the Four Phantoms, the Phantoms segment of the show had to be unique. And there's some amazing stuff that the individuals do along the way that had to stay. But it's going to be a lot of fun this December show. with the injection of the holiday spirit on top of everything else that's going on. So that certainly will be a lot of fun for us as we work our way forward. Again, I do want to point out that the sponsorships and individual donations are something we're seeking going in. This is the normal time, actually, for us to do it. It wouldn't feel so weird if it wasn't for the sake that there was so much going on in the world right now anyway. But again, I would send you to the website. I'd like you to encourage you to become familiar, of course, with the website, because so much of what we do and how to keep up on things happens there and on our Facebook site. It is thegrandoshkosh.org. If you go there, this is what you'll see on your device. And certainly if you can find the way to subscribe to the Grand at Home, you can find out the most up-to-date information about shows in the wake of the COVID-19 situation. And you can find a way to support and give and be a part of what's going on here at the Grand. So I hope you'll do that as well. As we go through the end of this, I do want to say to you that I'm going to be back. You'll see plenty of me, even if it's this way along the way. Great gratitude to the staff and the board of directors here at Grand, who have been working really hard just to make sure that we weave our way through this situation, and we're ready for you when the time comes. I am grateful for the support, the moral support, and the financial support that's been coming our way from people like you. And I hope that you continue to be well and be safe as you get back out in the community and start to reclaim your lives. And believe me, if there's a new idea along the way, we may just try it. So tune in frequently, check in with us. Don't miss the Grand at Home. Tomorrow night is Mallory Lewis and Lamb Chop. Saturday, a concert with Backstage Pass. And going forward on Fridays and Saturdays, we'll have something for you throughout the summer. We'll also have Thursday nights, little visits with me, maybe some Wednesday night content with some students along the way. And we'll look forward to seeing you as often as you can join us until we're ready to all gather together right here in the fall. So until then, my name is Joe Ferlo. I'll see you next week. You can find me at the Grand Oshkosh, and we'll stay in touch that way until we can all be together here again. Thanks a lot. Have a good evening.